Hey guys, gals, and MBs. So I wanted to say one thing really quick in the beginning here. Okay, so I told you in the video last week that I've been on HRT for a little bit of time now. But one thing that I've noticed, it really has started to affect my mood and my personal well-being in such a positive way, to the point where I literally find joy in making music to like no other like degree at this point. Actually, I know this sounds really cheesy and tacky, but I don't think in my entire adult life I've actually ever felt joy until recently. So music really like it hits that dopamine receptor, if that's the easiest way to put it. And a lot of my hobbies have as of recently, but I've never felt joy like I've felt now. And I wanted to thank everybody who watches my channel, and I really just want to share that joy and so forth with everybody, and how much I'm just enjoying making music. I mean, I used to enjoy making it, but at this point, it's a different level of enjoyment. I think I have a much more emotional connection to doing music in general. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. It has changed my life, and for the better. But let's get into the nitty gritty shit, actually, at this point, right? So I have a Volante here, and I've had a Volante in the past. I had this point in my life where I wanted to stop doing YouTube altogether. I was really depressed. I should have just started on HRT a lot sooner, actually, coming to think of it. And then I wouldn't have went through my whole selling escapade where I sold everything that I owned music-wise and just gave up on life, basically. But we're here again. I have a Volante again. I was itching for this specific sound that the Volante did, and I think this video is going to be entitled, "Is the Volante Still Worth It in 2025? Can anything really beat it?" I'm going to say early on in this video, no. I think it is nothing can beat it. That's the no. And yes, I think it is still worth it in 2025. Yeah, so let's just kind of get into it and why I still think this is one of the best sounding tape delays on the market. It has a few superpowers we're going to get into really quick, and yeah. So I have my favorite analog synth now. I think the Polybrew has become my favorite analog synth. I have my harp patch here. It is collapsed to mono. There's no stereo spread. There's no effects. You can see here it's in bypass. The color temperature is a little weird from the different cameras. Apologies about that. Not much I can do about that right now. I'll figure that out. I could probably do that in OBS. There's probably something I'm missing. But yeah, I guess let's listen to the harp patch. It's mono. And the reason I made it mono is because the Volante has some magical abilities to give you stereo spread in multiple different ways, and it already collapses the signal into mono for the wet portion. I mean, it's in bypass right now, so it'll let a stereo signal through, and it'll be on the dry side. See? I mean, even if we turned it on, you could still hear that. But the wet side, the actual delay side would have collapsed that to mono, so it's not a big deal to not have a stereo signal going in. But let's listen to what it does. So let me turn all this shit down over here. We'll turn this down. We'll turn the echo level here. Spring off. I don't like springs. I'm going to bring that up. And with one head activated, we will not get any repeats. You'll just hear, you'll just hear one repeat, and you won't hear a feedback. See? Now, if we turn on a feedback head, we get repeats. It's your standard fare. And the thing is you can mix and match. Like, let's say I want the third one on, but I don't want to repeat on the third tap. Yeah, so fun things you can do with that. And then you have spacing and lots of cool things with that. Let's just get right into the superpower that this can do. First off, you can hear that it is adding a little bit of stereo spread, right? Gorgeous. It's very subtle, but it's nice. It's there. So what we can do, let's turn on all the heads and the superpowers. Now we can actually spread the signal any way we want from left to right per head. And the way you do that is you hold the feedback and you change the time knob. So here, you'll see the time or the playback head turn orange when we're in the middle. that means we're centered, but we're going to turn this head to the left, this to the right, this to the left, this to the right, and we'll get a ping pong stereo tape echo. Watch. And now let's play something. Of course, we can change the time. Shortest time. You can actually get way shorter than that if you go into doubling. Yeah, but let's go into half and let's just turn it all the way up and let's have some real fun with this, almost superpowers style fun. Yeah. So there is the superpower. Doesn't it sound gorgeous? I mean, we didn't add any of the characteristics of a tape delay yet, or a magnetic delay. This is more than just a tape delay. It does drum echoes, it does studio style tape, so like your half or quarter inch. Would it be half inch? Well, a studio style tape would be a full inch, generally on a multi-track machine, wouldn't it? It'd be pretty big. And then your standard quarter inch tape, I guess, what the tape echo would do, and then you have drum, which is it's a magnetic drum. It has like a wire wrapped around it that's magnetic. But yeah, so there's different characteristics to each of these. The gain slightly differs. The saturation on this is absolutely fantastic, and we'll hear that in a second. But yeah, let's add some mechanics to it. We're in the tape mode, which is the best sounding mode. I do like the drum as well, but that is totally clean. Let's add some mechanics. Let's turn them up halfway. We'll get some wow and flutter. Gorgeous, right? That's on a clean tape. We can wear the tape and we can add some high pass filtering to it. Let's add high pass filtering to it. Let's turn it all the way up. That's the low cut, and you'll hear the echoes get brighter and brighter. Cool, right? Let's turn down the low cut. Let's turn up the wear, and that's kind of like your low pass filter. So it'll be dark. And then we can run both together, like running a dehumidifier and a humidifier together. Sounds pretty cool, right? All right. So let's turn that down. Let's turn the wear to the middle. Actually, let's turn the wear down. Let's hear how the mechanics sound now in the drum. Instead of having wow and flutter, we're going to have more of a warped, almost warped vinyl style sound. Let's exaggerate that by turning it all the way up. It's a little more predictable. It's a little more of that up and down seasick feel. And then if we go to the tape, it's a lot more subtle. It's almost kind of chorusy, kind of vibrato-y, not quite all that harsh. It's nice. I like all the modes, but tape is obviously my favorite. Let's go and change the wear and go through them again. With the mechanics all the way up. Tape. Also, when you get past noon on the mechanics on the tape, you start getting tape splices in there too, and dropouts. It's really cool. And then back to the studio. Much more subtle. Okay, let's go back to tape. Let's go back around here. Actually, we'll go up there. We want a little bit of tape splicing. We'll get a little less wear. And let's turn this to golden ratio. Let's actually hear what that sounds like. Actually, I'll sweep it through. We'll do this. Let's turn up the feedback so we get almost superpowers style stuff. So that's golden ratio. We've got triplets. Even. Of course, that's going to play back into the repeats, so maybe turn those down. Let's go back to silver, and let's do silver. Not back to, we haven't done that yet. I like golden and silver. I particularly don't like the sound-on-sound looper on here compared to the El Capistan, because the sound-on-sound looper here doesn't add that stereo spread and everything. The looper itself is purely mono in this. It doesn't add any stereo to it, and you can't stick it in the front of everything. If you could stick it on the front of everything and have this run the sound-on-sound looper through the delay, I think it would be a much better thing. Something the El Capistan doesn't particularly do, but it adds the characteristics of the stereo spread from the looping section. It basically gives you a big long piece of tape to mess with, which this is like almost a separate looper altogether, where the sound-on-sound mode on the El Capistan is very different, and I prefer the El Capistan for that kind of thing. And I think the El Capistan still is the top. It's like the GOAT of degrading, tape loop degrading pedals out there. I have yet to find anything quite like it. Too bad it sums to mono. I mean, again, it adds a stereo spread, but it sums to mono. I mean, here, we can hear that really quick. Let me go into the looping mode. So we turn on the looping mode this way. Actually, I guess that turns on the delay, but let's do this. Okay, so you hear, I'm going to stop this so it doesn't get out of hand. As you heard there, the whole thing is now mono, and that is just a very unfortunate part. Let me go back out into their standard delay mode. But because you have such long delay time on this in the half mode, then you can kind of do Furpatronics with high repeats. God, isn't that gorgeous? Is that a little bit of high cut? Okay, let's go to the other superpower. This is done exceptionally well in the Volante, something as much as I like the RE202 by Boss, and right now because of specific geopolitical events caused by complete idiots that run this country, the Boss RE202 I think is definitely overpriced for what it is. I think it's in the same ballpark as the Volante, and the only good thing that the RE202 has, well, it does have a very nostalgic sound. I used to have a real RE201, and it's very, very close to that. It's not exact, but the one thing that has is it has a full stereo image. Not image, but it's fully stereo through. So the delay portion is properly stereo and things like that. I think that is the only good thing that is really a big plus for the RE202 from Boss. The big downside is I think the saturation doesn't sound very natural on the Boss, where it sounds super good on this. So let's hear that. And what I'm going to do that, we're going to turn down the repeats a little. We're going to turn down the echo volumes to compensate for as much drive as I'm going to stick in. We're going to stick about half drive. Listen to the distortion that we get from the sounds. Listen to that just fuzzy warmth, that lovely, there's so much tape saturation there, it's gorgeous. And we could bump that way up. Let's turn it down more to compensate. Let's just bring the drive level up to like... like you're almost feeding a guitar amplifier directly into the head. I mean, that would fry the crap out of the front end of a real tape echo, but... God. I guess it's not that hot, but... I think that's fantastically gorgeous, especially with the mechanics we have right now and the wear and the high passing. Let's turn off the high passing. Let's add some more wear. All right. Let's do one last really cool thing with this specific video. We'll go ahead and go back to normal volume levels. We'll mess with that a little bit in a second. Let's go ahead and turn off the delay. Let's go ahead and make an init patch. To do that, you press the left here and you press preset, then you get an init patch. And let's make the most traditional standard polysynth sound pad where we just use a sub oscillator and two saws, right? All right, let's bring up second VCO. And then we're going to put these both through the Steiner Parker filter, the Peter Parker filter. And it's one of my favorite filters on here. We'll try it through the Moog filter. Somebody got really pissy at me calling it a Moog filter. It's a Moog filter. Shut up. But I know it's a ladder filter, but you know who popularized that, and that would be Moog. So we're going to turn off the cutoff here because we're going to use the VCF to control a resonant sweep. So let's add some decay here on the VCA. Let's go ahead and turn the envelope amount up for the filter envelope, so we can get a nice sweep. Let's turn the sustain up. It's a little less there. Let's make it less bright. Let's add some brew factor. I absolutely love the Steiner filter on this thing. It is very Oberheim-esque. Especially when you add some resonance. It does self-oscillate though. I still, in my opinion, I think a SEM filter is slightly superior, but with everything else you get on this synth, it doesn't really matter. Maybe a little more resonance. And let's make sure we're in parallel so we don't mix them together. All right, and let's go ahead and detune second oscillator so we get some natural chorusing. And let's add that sub oscillator in, and this is going to just rattle your teeth. You know what sounds wrong? I still have a transpose offset. Whoopsie doodles. Let's turn that down. And let's add the really awesome sounding one knob chorus to this thing. I love this thing. Listen to this. And then now let's add, actually, let's hear that without the chorus really quick. So, and let's hear what the Volante does just by itself. course now. Actually, we'll bring that down because it sounds good by itself. There's that beautiful nostalgic tape vibes that you get from the Volante. They're gorgeous, aren't they? Let's go to a golden ratio. I think that's just amazing. Let's hear that with a drum echo. Let's bring down the echo level and let's bring up the drive so it sounds real saturated. Let's bring that through the Moog style filter. Let's bring this down. Let's do the VCF to about there, add some distortion, some resonance. Yeah, that's really distorted and hot, but that sounds really nice on tape, doesn't it? All right, I mean, I guess that's kind of the end of the video. I just wanted to really share my joy of the Volante again, why I ended up getting it. I really need that specific sound for some things I'll be doing in the future, including this. I was going to call it a D&D album. It can't be called a D&D album because Hasbro will have your ass for that in copyright infringement. So it's a generic tabletop RPG, pen and paper RPG album. My mom is going to be helping my significant other and I make a album cover for it since she's a photographer, so that's really cool. That'll be coming up. I'll hopefully be doing that tomorrow. That's kind of why I'm doing a video tonight on a Friday night. Not that I have anything better to do. My enjoyment is doing music and video games on Friday nights, so you know, it's something. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my video yet and you like my weird rambliness that I go over with music and crap like that, go ahead and join, and if you like, or subscribe I should say, not join, but if you also liked this video in particular, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.